views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Cultural Brilliance Radio with Claudette Rowley. Conversations that are transforming the world of culture and business. Claudette brings fresh, innovative perspectives that push the boundaries of what organizational cultures can and should be. Learn how to catalyze your organization's workforce into an authentic, intentional, financially successful culture.
Wow, everyone, welcome. This is really exciting. It's so great to have you all tuning us in and turning us on. Let me tell you why. I love what happens here when brilliance emerges. And what do I even mean by that? Well, let me give you a couple of tidbits on this. It's hard for me to describe what my life is like and how I get to work with the most creative, amazing, absolutely groundbreaking initiative type people. And I have to pinch myself some days. And I am thrilled to be introducing all of you to a fabulous radio series we're going to be doing with Claudette Rowley. Now listen, Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence. Now, why is this exciting? Well, you're going to hear about it today, but also, what is it that Claudette has said that she is showing up in life to do? Here's what it is. It is to take a message. This absolutely cultural brilliance CEO is a culture design consultant, 20 years plus of experience in organizational development, has created a 5-step cultural brilliance methodology and model. She works with executive leaders and people across the organization to retain and increase the value of their business as they merge, transform, scale, and shine. She's an experienced strategist with a knack for building collaborative executive leadership teams, just skyrockets business performance, and does it in a way that engages employees. Now, this is really the new thing that you're going to hear about today. So for the past 15 years, she has consulted, trained, coached executive leaders, management teams, Fortune 100 companies, small businesses, startups, how to create a workplace culture that delivers effective business results. And by the way, honors people in the process. This is really going to be cool for all of us to look at here today, because you can do stuff and get effective business results and completely not honor the people that are there. That's not Claudette. So here we go. We are ready to talk with her about what she has discovered, created, and is bringing to the forefront as a professional certified coach, an international coach, someone that has said yes to helping organizations become culturally brilliant. Claudette, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much, Pat. I'm thrilled to be here. Really excited.
Well, let's talk about today, because we're going to kick this off with cultural intelligence, the tapestry of success. I love that. And when we're thinking about that, you know, a lot of times what happens is we leave one element out or leave another element out, or what we also do. I'm not saying that you do this, but I've been on teams where we customize our conversation around this to fit an executive team, but not you. What is this cultural intelligence and how do we tap into it? So let's talk about that first.
Absolutely. So cultural intelligence, it's like emotional intelligence in a sense that it's really what I like to call an energetic connection in a culture. So like as we see emotional intelligence emerge, and sometimes we can't quite put our finger on it, it's not necessarily tangible, but when it's there, we know it and see it. Cultural intelligence can be like that. It's this intelligence that the culture holds. And if we allow it to emerge, we allow it to unfold, it really, really will. And as you were saying, sometimes organizations will actually customize conversation on culture in order to meet what the executives or the leaders want to see or hear. And so this moves well beyond that. It says whatever intelligence is actually here, we're going to allow this to emerge. We're going to allow it to unfold, and we're going to learn from it. We're going to actually learn from our own organizational culture and see what it has to tell us. So it's a lot about authenticity and truth-telling and accepting what's actually part of a culture. What are all the great parts? What are the parts that aren't so great? And listening to what it has to tell us.
That's what I love about this. And that's what I love about what you've created, in the concept, the idea, the model of cultural brilliance. And we're going to talk more about that as we move forward here, and especially as the series gets on. One of the things that I know that you have been on a mission for is to understand how culture is, and what do we have to do to understand that? How do we recognize it? So part of the model that you've created is including in the conversation of culture, authentic, the word authentic. Let's talk about that for a minute, because that is not a word we hear too often here in organizations.
No, we don't. We hear authentic leadership. We talk about people getting to be authentic. We don't talk a lot about authentic culture. And when we think about culture, there's a lot around cultural design right now. That's a hot topic. In mergers and acquisitions, there's a lot around cultural integration, as there should be. How do two cultures integrate when there's a merger or acquisition? We don't hear a lot about what's authentic in culture. So authenticity in a culture is understanding things like, what are the observable norms about how people operate? What are the hidden ones? What are the ones, beneath the water? If we were thinking about some of the norms being the tip of an iceberg, what's beneath that water? It's also understanding what's the best about us as a culture and an organization. And I don't find a lot of organizations talking about that. Having a conversation, what's best about us? What do we do really well? Who are we as an organization? They may talk about values and mission, but they leave out this part about who are we as a workforce, who are we as an organization, what's best about us, what's true and real and authentic about who we are, which may be really positive. And as I said, might be some things that an organization may say, yeah, that's authentic for us, but we may want to shift and change that because it's not serving us any longer. And that's completely fine. But it's really allowing the flow of what I would call the flow of the organizational evolution to unfold. Sometimes I'll see organizations, especially for example, in the startup world, you'll see a great company form. Someone had a great vision. They had a great passion. They started a company. It's really doing well. And then at some point, the company, it really is about to grow. It's about to scale. It's taking off in a completely different way. And I've seen examples where the culture has actually held it back from doing that, or made it a lot harder for it to scale and grow in a rapid way, because the culture that formed when the company was founded or started is not the culture that organization now needs. So part of that authenticity is actually understanding how a culture needs to grow and evolve to track with the organization as it grows and evolves.
Yeah, I love this, because what I hear you saying around this has really been the missing link for a really long time. It's really the organic aspect of honoring people in the workplace that somehow a long time, and I understand how this could happen, especially in the research world on this, how this could be left out because of some of the confusion we've had with climate and culture. But, I want to ask you this question. How is culture a help in your opinion? I know you've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, look at you. You've created cultural brilliance. But how is culture a help, or is it perhaps a hindrance in this idea of cultural intelligence?
It's actually both. And there are a lot of people who have done research on culture for a really, really long time, like Edgar Schein, for example, who's one of the forefathers in organizational culture. And they talk a lot about that culture, that we have to accept that culture is really a help and a hindrance, often simultaneously in organizations, and that we can't make it black and white and say culture is helping us here, but it's a hindrance over here. It's really understanding, again, that it is because culture evolves as people in an organization learn and make decisions and grow together, the culture evolves. So it's honestly looking at it and saying sometimes it's going to be a help and it's going to really drive us forward, and that can be part of the intelligence that emerges. And sometimes we need to say, wow, you know what? The culture we used to have, the culture we've had, which was we're a small organization, so we can just, have informal meetings, pull people together, make quick decisions in the elevator. That was great for a while, but now that's actually a hindrance to us because now we have 100 people working for our organization. So we now need to sit down in some regularly scheduled meetings and put a few systems and processes or structures in place because 100 people can't just operate in this really casual manner. So that would be a simple example of how a culture that was really helpful now becomes a hindrance simply because the organization has grown.
Yeah, I love this because you and I have talked a lot and, we've kind of shared stories. I've talked to you about the divestiture and the breakup of AT&T, but let's talk about this idea of how culture respects people, because there's been this missing element from this, Claudette, for for a really long time. But for you, this is really an aspect of this that is so super important. So how does intelligence help us build the bridge, right, between results and respect?
That's a great question. I think cultural intelligence helps build that bridge because if we assume that an intelligence that emerges is going to be positive and give us good information, then it's also, you're not going to have an intelligence that emerges most likely that says it would be important to disrespect people right now. Because as people, we gravitate toward being respected. That's really important to most of us, if not all of us. So part of, cultural intelligence is going to bring forth things like, we need to treat our people better. We need to respect them. We need to listen to them. We need to understand what's important to them. We need to stop treating them as another resource, a human resource or human capital. So I think what naturally evolves is people wanting to be more respected, wanting to be trusted. Trust is a foundation for so many other things. So, and we're starting to hear a lot more of that, respect, trust. Let's build relationships. Let's be connected. That's all the foundation of an organization and a culture really working well.
I love this. And I want to just say to everyone, Claudette and I we are just fired up about this series, and this is the one of several. There has never been a model that has really tapped in to the levels of organizational dynamics like this one in talking about culture. And that's why I love this, cultural brilliance. And I want to just say to everyone, when we come back, we're going to be talking about something I love to talk about. What is that? Listen up. That's what we're going to talk about. Listen up. What does that mean? Well, here's what I want to say to everybody. Short break, but you can find out more about everything we're talking about here today, what Claudette is up to. And by the way, if you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I don't know, my organization could use some of this. Yeah, ClaudetteRowley.com. And when we come back, I'm going to make sure I spell that out. We're going to give you a shortcut for it and all of the above. Are you ready for this, folks? Listen up. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way. Find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
Shine On Radio. Find Your Shine with Kelly is the show that celebrates what makes you, you. Join co-hosts Kelly Wadler and Dr. Pat Basili as they break down how to brilliantly fuel and move your body and love what makes you shine. Kelly is a professional arts and wellness coach dedicated to helping brilliant women find their confidence, energy, self-love, and shine. Tune in to Shine On Radio with Kelly and find your shine on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
What is a brilliant culture and how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you design a culture that thrives. Whether you want to increase your business's success or create a more engaged, unified workforce, Claudette can help. We cannot thrive in a toxic environment. Learn how to create change with cultural brilliance and Claudette Rowley. To learn more or to work with Claudette, visit ClaudetteRowley.com.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't